Mayor, staff is ready when you are.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members. Welcome to the meeting of the Sacramento City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Thank you. Vice Mayor Ashby.
Here.
Councilmember Loloe.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Valenzuela.
Here.
Councilmember Chenier.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Jennings.
Here.
Councilmember Vang.
She's here, but she's in the participants area.
So Councilmember Vang is joining us now. Mayor, you have your full quorum.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Loloe, would you please give us the honor of the land acknowledgement and the Pledge of Allegiance? Please.
Absolutely. Please rise for the opening acknowledgement in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal land. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Medu, Valley and Plains, Miwok, Padwin, Winton peoples, and people of Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federal recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in an active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation of Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Now for the pledge, please salute. I pledge allegiance
to the
to
flag
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Loloe. First of all, I just want to make an announcement that item 18 on the comprehensive siting plan at the request of staff is going to be continued for a week. So members of the public who are calling in or colleagues who are preparing to speak on that item is going to be postponed for a week. And members, before we launch into some happy presentations, special presentations, and our work, without objection, I would like the ability to take just a moment for all of us to reflect on the events of the past days, because I think that is appropriate. And members can share their thoughts either at the beginning of the meeting here or at the end of the meeting. But I did not want to just proceed with business as usual without taking a moment and maybe ending the moment with a moment of silence in memory of all of the victims of last weekend's terrible tragedy. Let me just say my piece up front, and then I'll leave it to all of you either now or again at the end of the meeting to share any of your thoughts. And I know Councilmember Valenzuela has requested to formally adjourn in memory of the victims. And of course, I will afford her that opportunity at the end of the meeting. You know, I have a sign in my office that I'm sure many of you have in yours. You see it on T-shirts and on billboards, and it says, "Every day is your chance to make this city a little better." I love that. It speaks to Sacramento. Our community is going through a major trauma. There has been a terrible loss of life and many injured. We hurt deeply for the victims, for their friends and their families, and we will not forget them, both the lost and those who survive. We are also a very resilient city. This unacceptable tragedy does not define us. It does not speak to who we are and what we will continue to aspire to be. This is a diverse, engaged, dynamic, and inclusive city. And our strengths have shone brightly over these last difficult days. Sacramento always rises to the occasion. This is not our first crisis. And I'm sure, unfortunately, it may not be our last. I want to thank profusely all of those who have been engaged in trying to help victims' families, and help our community, starting with my colleagues here on the City Council. All of you who have shown up in all the different spaces that your constituents, our constituents have needed you to be in. They draw great strength from your leadership. I want to thank the city manager and his entire team for once again responding to crisis in all of the right ways. Our police chief, Kathy Lester. Oh my God, only been on the job a couple of weeks, and look what she's confronting, and she's doing so with grace, with strength, and with great skill. To all of the first responders, including our fire department, who were on the scene without hesitation, the 100 or more people who have helped with this investigation by submitting videos, and of course, our community, the advocates, the activists, but also people without titles or without formal roles who have been helping others in this great time of need. These murders have raised many questions, not just for Sacramento, but for the state and the country. And over the days and weeks ahead, I hope that we will not only address those questions, but we will respond in positive and proactive ways to all the lessons learned. And of course, it's gun violence, it's public safety, it's early intervention for youth, it's mental health, it's the importance of our city center, and so much more. But we do not have to wring our hands. We will never be complacent. And I would suggest that rather than an exhaustive study or too much analysis, let us use this moment to enhance and elevate what we are already doing. I know last year our police department confiscated over 1,600 guns from the streets. I know last year and the year before, this city council invested tens of millions of dollars in youth, both primary intervention and also direct intervention in gang and other activities to prevent violence. All the investments we have made in the community, with the community, and for the community allows us, I think, to rightfully say the following. We cannot know, and we will not know, how many tragedies and deaths we have prevented by the investments and the choices we have made. We cannot absolutely prevent every act of violence or unspeakable tragedy. But if we use this unacceptable tragedy to look inside and to do better and to elevate and advance what we are already doing, we have the opportunity not only to prevent more tragedies, but to help many people find more positive paths to better lives. I just wanted to say this at the beginning of the meeting. I know we've all talked a lot. I know I've talked a lot over these last several days, but this is the beginning of our first city council meeting. And I thought it was appropriate and necessary to start off both to acknowledge the trauma and the pain that our community is going through, especially the victims, but also to continue to provide some hope and a path forward for all of us. Thank you. Members, let us take the presentations, the special presentations, and let us begin with the celebration recognizing Women's History Month. I'll turn it over to Vice Mayor Angelique Ashby.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This is, though, not just me. So
I'm sorry.
I know it says just my name, but for 6 years I did this by myself.
Yes, no
not
longer.
doing it again. So, Council members Valenzuela and Vang, if you would both unmute yourselves and help me out here and just chime in as you would like. Mayor, I'm actually not sorry. We're going to steal a few minutes here to
You-
celebrate last month.
You go.
Okay, thank you. And
You go.
month, the three of us are quite excited. We have for you a video that Councilmember Valenzuela's office put together that we're very happy about. And then we have 3 awards that we would like to give to 3 special people. And we have a resolution to read. So Councilmember Valenzuela, you want to start us off?
I will. Let me make sure I do this correctly. Can you see yourself, Vice Mayor?
That looks like us.
Happy Women's History Month. I'm Angelique Ashby. I currently serve as Vice Mayor of the City of Sacramento, and I'm so honored to do a video with my colleagues, Councilmember Vang and Councilmember Valenzuela, honoring all the women in Sacramento who are working so hard.
In a city where 51% of our population identifies as women, our boards, commissions, councils, and management teams should reflect Sacramento's ethnic and gender diversity.
It is so important to make sure that we elect local leaders that look like us, to ensure that we have leaders locally on the ground that reflects our community.
I think it's really important during Women's History Month that we acknowledge those who helped forge the path, making way for us to have a seat at this table.
We are honored to follow in the footsteps of amazing city leaders like Luella Johnson,
Eva Garcia,
Ann Rudin, and Heather Fargo,
Kaylee Carney,
Kim Mueller,
Lauren Hammond,
Lila Ferris,
Deborah Ortiz,
Bonnie Pinnell.
Lynn Roby.
and Sandy Sheedy.
I'm honored to be counted amongst those ladies.
Please join us in celebrating March 2022 as Women's History Month, and let's honor all of the past, present, and future women leaders in our community.
This month, we celebrate you. Happy Women History Month.
Happy Women's History Month.
That was great. Thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela. And, you all know us as Councilmember Ashby, Valenzuela, and Councilmember Vang, but we sometimes call each other number 12, 13, and 14. So I just wanted to let 14 chime in really quick as well.
That's me, right? Yeah. All right. Well, Vice Mayor Ashby, well, I just want to say, one, just thank you for your fierce leadership in holding it down for the past 6 years as the only councilwoman, but really honor as we close out Women's History Month last week to really take this opportunity to center and uplift some of our amazing local leaders right here in Sacramento that is doing everything they can to really uplift and heal our community. As we enter really the 3rd year of this pandemic, we know that it's been women leaders in Sacramento. It's been the women in our families who have been the backbone of keeping all of our communities healthy and safe. And women have historically really have led the way in mending divisions, in healing wounds, and really finding peaceful solutions. And they're the one advocating for compassionate treatments and really new direction in public health to really address all of the social determinants that impacts our communities. And this year in particular, I'm just so honored because it is my 2nd year and Councilwoman Valenzuela's 2nd year as city council member, but we're reminded of just all of the amazing women leaders and healers and caregivers that came before us, and those that are still with us today who are working every day to help promote a better future and really sustain hope for the future. And so just really honored to be presenting this with my colleagues and presenting 3 awards to 3 amazing, fierce local Sacramento women leaders. So with that, I'll hand it back to Vice Mayor Ashby.
So let's do the 3 awards first and then the resolution. Sound good, you guys? All right. So I'm going to tell you the category and then maybe number 14, Councilmember Vang, will tell you who we selected for this one. So the category for City of Sacramento Woman of the Year in service to the community, we selected.
In service to the community, we selected Nelda, and I believe she's on as well. Yes, and as you know, Nilda has been the fierce leader at My Sister's House, really on the front line, addressing the multiple needs of victims and survivors of domestic violence, gender-based violence, and really just grateful for her leadership. And we wanted to take this moment to center her and everything that she's done for this community. So we're here really to celebrate you, Nilda. I don't have a certificate.
I do.
You
And
do? Okay, cool.
it'll be signed by the ladies of the Sacramento City Council, special for you, Nilda.
Awesome. And with that, we'll hand the council virtual floor to you to say a few words. Nilda?
So this is total surprise. So I'm not really good at this stuff, but I just want to thank our council members for this honor. It's great working with you all and helping make a difference to a city that I love, that is so different from the city that was portrayed this weekend. And I believe wholeheartedly, and I know you all do, that, you know, in preventing domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, that we help change our homes, our neighborhoods, our communities, so that we don't have to deal with what we did this weekend, which definitely was an act of hatred and not love. And so thank you for your supporting My Sister's House, especially, you know, those that are underserved victims. And thank you for this wonderful honor.
Sound effects. Also, Nilda, I'm gonna, on behalf of the three ladies on the council dais, I am going to contribute $3,000.
All right. Okay, thanks. All right.
Oh my God, thank you,
As part of
Councilmember
this,
Ashby.
honoring you and lifting you up for the work that you've been doing. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Vang in Valenzuela too. It's great that My Sister's House Treasures is in Councilmember Valenzuela's district, and My Sister's House Cafe too. So thank you.
We appreciate you. All right, our next category, Mayor, we have two more. This one is City of Sacramento Woman of the Year in Service to the City. Councilmember Valenzuela, you want to take this one away?
Yes, for this award, we selected Lachelle Dozier, our Executive Director of the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. I do still believe she has a money printer in her basement because I'm still not totally sure how she does what she does. But I will say that it has been a pleasure working with you, Lachelle. Your commitment to your work is apparent in everything that you do. And so I'm really proud to be able to honor you with this today. And I hope that it helps show you a little bit of the role that you play and that we hope you'll continue to play in making our city a better place. Would you like to say anything?
I'm shocked as well. I really am speechless, and I just am so honored that you would recognize me, and so glad that we have such fierce leaders and fierce women who are representing Sacramento and doing such a fantastic job of that. And every day, I wake up and I just have gratitude in my heart that I get an opportunity to come and to really help those people who need the help. And as you know, if you don't have a house, if you don't have a place to stay, then nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. And so each day, me and my staff, and they're just wonderful people. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Get a chance to do that and to really help people realize their dream of having a home. So I thank you for all that you guys do and allowing me to do this type of work in the community. And it's just an honor. Thank you.
And Lachelle just celebrated 20 years working for SHRA. She's the longest standing executive director of the agency and only the second woman to serve in that position. So proud of you, Lachelle, and honored. You too will get a certificate signed by the three ladies of the Sacramento City Council. I will have that for you later. And then our last one here, Mayor, is to the City of Sacramento. This is for an elected official, current or previous, who used their position to create pathways for other women. And we decided it was most appropriate to give this award, the first one, to Mayor Ann Rudin. And well, of course, she can't be here because she has passed away. I did reach out to her son, who sent me the most lovely thing to share with you guys. Actually sent me her farewell speech from when she left as mayor. And I just want to pull out two parts and share it with you because it was so profound. And I just knew you would all love it so much. And what a gracious and incredible woman she was. And truly, Councilmember Valenzuela, Vang, and myself, we wouldn't be here without her and without the other women like her who were willing to fight so hard for a seat at the table. So these are my two favorite parts. First, she talks a little bit about it being her last year, and that at the same time that she left, Mayor, I think this is when you transitioned in, because she said that Lynn, Lila, and Kim were all leaving the same year as her. And she says, I have regrets that our female majority in this year of the woman, mind you, 1992, will be reduced to one. I will personally work in the future to remedy that situation. There definitely was a gender vote on certain issues. There were two that I can remember where we were in the minority, both of which were reversed later, either through litigation or by the people. And I just love that she was keeping score on how the ladies did and what happened with their votes. And this last one, Mayor, here, she says, I thought you would get a kick out of this. She says, frequently, I have been asked what advice I will give my successor. The answer is none. Each person has his or her own way of doing things, his or her own dreams, priorities, and vision. That is what political change is all about. But I am tempted, so why not? Here's one. Don't let anyone get you out on the river in a speedboat going 120 miles per hour. They make U-turns without slowing down. Send the vice mayor. That's why you have a vice mayor. She also went on to say, never judge contests, especially chili cook-offs, because the fastest way to lose votes is to tell someone that they're a loser. So full of sage wisdom here. And then the last thing that I just wanted to leave you with is words from her, is that she said, while I won't be Mayor Ann Rudin anymore, I will be wherever I can do some good. Life will never be as exciting as it has been the past 9 years. No day is like the one that went before or came after. Thank goodness for that, because there were some yesterdays that I would not want to repeat. But who knows what adventures are ahead in my life? You don't know until you open yourself up to them. I thought that was about the best advice we could ask for from our previous mayor. And that being said, Madam Clerk, if you could bring, I think she's number 11, former council member Lauren Hammond, onto this call. She is going to receive this resolution from us. And our resolution for March 2022 says that after the first year of California passing the right for women to vote in the state, Luella Johnston was the first woman elected to serve on the city of Sacramento's governing body. She was also the first to hold a municipal office in California's history and elected to govern a major city in the United States of America. She served from 1912 to 1913, just 1 year before the guys ran a slate to remove her. The historical record for women serving on Sacramento City Council and as Sacramento City Mayor does not completely or comprehensively recognize the contributions of all the women who have honored Sacramento in their public service to this governing body. Women of all diverse backgrounds and identities have made historical contributions critical to the economic, cultural, and social growth of the city of Sacramento, and were critical to the establishment of educational, charitable, and philanthropic programs to benefit all residents, but particularly women, children, and underserved populations. The city of Sacramento celebrates and honors the women who have been elected or appointed to proudly serve on the Sacramento City Council and as mayor of the city of Sacramento. So do we have Lauren Hammond on here, former council member?
We do.
Are you number 11?
I don't know what number I am, but I'm here.
All right. Well, we'd like to present this to you. Would you like to say anything on behalf of all the women who have served on this council?
Yes. One, it's humbling. Two, there's no greater work. And I can just say that the work is hard, but satisfying. Yes, it's only been a few women. There have been great women before, and there are great women that are following. And you grow literally into the role. It was my honor to serve with Daryl and all the other folks, because Daryl was my seatmate for a year. And
That's right. We told a lot of good jokes.
that's what I was going to say. He's cracked a lot of good jokes between us. And after the troubling weekend we had, I was happy to see the mayor, you vice mayor, Councilmember Valenzuela, Councilmember Jennings. Because when you have to go to a press conference like that, when you have to go to the public and tell them not great things, there really is a sense and a comfort when your leaders are there. And I think Councilmember Chenier, I think I saw him too. So it was a tough weekend, but you all got through it. Things will be better, and this is still a great town. So you see how I just kind of clicked into that mode, and I haven't been there in 12 years. I'm honored that you're giving me a resolution, and I congratulate the other awardees, and I appreciate the time you've taken to honor the women. And it's not saying a bad thing about the gentlemen, not at all. You know, you guys are good guys, and each and every one of you has a good woman in your life. Thank you.
Councilmember Jennings, you can't put that out loud on the record. That's bad for you. Don't do that. We're so grateful. And Councilmember Hammond now leads the National Women's Political Caucus, which is known in this region for lifting women up, including all of us on this call. And these women in this region really have folks like her and former Mayor Fargo to lean on. And those ladies are working overtime to let us stand on their shoulders so that we can try to reach for the next. And I really appreciate her and all the women who we've been able to honor today and the ones that we will honor in the future. So that's it for me. But Councilmember Valenzuela and Vang, I don't know if you want to say anything.
No, excellent job, Vice Mayor, and major kudos to our teams who helped us orchestrate this little surprise for you special women here tonight, and creating the videos and doing all of that work. It's really great, and it's sad that we didn't do it during the month, but I think it's a little bit sweeter to celebrate our community today, given everything that's happened in recent days, and to take a moment to take stock of how lucky we are really in our city. Thank you.
Councilmember Vang?
Nope, I think that's it. I think Councilwoman Valenzuela and Vice Mayor summed it up. So just really honored to, be part of this, and honored to wake up every day to serve a community I love. And all of the women here has blazed a trail so that I could be here today. So I'm just grateful to be part of this presentation, and I'm just excited for more to come. So
I think you all said it eloquently, and just very proud of all of you, and proud of the history, and proud of all the pioneers, because we all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. So thank you, Vice Mayor and Council Members Valenzuela and Vang and Councilmember Hammond and everybody else who have broken barriers and changed our city for the better. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next presentation, which is recognizing Winfred De Leon on his retirement. It's a sad, bittersweet day for our city here. Councilmember Harris.
Well, thank you, Mayor. There's Win, he just popped up on the screen. This is recognizing Win's accomplishment as our chief building official. You all know that I'm a building contractor, and one of the first things I did after I got elected was sit down with Win and other people in the building department and a bunch of contractors to talk about what was working and was not working for them as people in the field making a living and building to see if we could come to some consensus about how to streamline the building permit process. And I'd have to say that under Winslow's supervision, things have really changed for the better, a lot better in our building department. Win has been with us since 2013. He started as a supervising engineer for plan review. A lot of really wonderful things have been built under his supervision, noticeably the Golden One Center, and he ultimately signed the certificate of occupancy. And other projects that he's worked on have been the Safe Credit Union Convention Center and Performing Arts Center, Mosaic, the SMUD Museum of Science and Curiosity, Kempton Sawyer Hotel, Downtown Commons, Ice Blocks, Delta Shores. Look, Win has really seen a lot of projects come and go and helped usher them through to completion. But he's really changed, I think, the way things work in the building department. And I can tell you as a contractor, we complain a lot. There's no doubt about it. Contractors are never happy with the permit process, probably never will be. But I can say this, that in my tenure, the complaints are a lot fewer than they used to be. Running the building department through the pandemic has been enormously challenging. How do you inspect buildings when it's unsafe to go on site? Well, under Win's supervision, they worked it out. Virtual inspections have been very successful. They've worked out the technology, worked out how to actually look at very, very minute details and important details and structures using an iPhone and using telephony. Y'all know I've been building an ADU, and so I have been through many inspections during the pandemic, and it has worked out really well. Additionally, Win kind of pioneered this process to use unmanned aerial systems or drones to inspect roofing. In a virtual inspection process, you don't really want people to get up on their roof with their iPhone and walk around. There's a lot of danger in that, a lot of liability. And the idea of using drones to inspect the roof is really very novel. The point that I'm trying to make is that Win has been a great building official. He's been real fun for me to work with, a real pleasure, always professional, always polite, gets to the point of the matter. And he's won several awards from the Sacramento Valley Association of Business Officials, and he won an Inspirational Award. He was here when we got the Building Department of the Year Award in 2017. That was put out by the California building officials. So Win, I just want to say thank you for your service. You've done a lot for the city. I think that you've helped make our community development department a better department. And again, I've just really appreciated working with you quite a lot. It could have gone in a much different direction, but you've been great and you will be missed. I believe your boss is on the line, and I would like to open it up to Tom Pace to say some remarks. And Tom, thanks for making the effort to get to the meeting.
I want to say something briefly too, but let's turn it over to Tom. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Harris. I would like to say thank you to you, Winfred, for your many years of service to our city. And I'd like to commend him in front of all of you for the excellent work that he's done, focusing on improving the permit process for our city. Building a city is a very difficult and complex process with a lot of rules and regulations, many of which are not under our control as a city, but they're there for the public health and safety. And Winfred has always exercised the highest integrity in looking at ways to help people out, certainly, but doing it in a way that protects the safety of our citizens. He's been innovative, as has been mentioned, with the technology that has really helped us get through the pandemic. His work and his support for innovation has made that possible. And he is a consummate professional, a public servant to the core. And so thank you, Winfred.
Mayor?
I just want to reflect on my formative experience with Win, and that was during the, of course, now famous effort to finish the Community Center Theater on time to welcome Hamilton. And Win was put into, let's just say, a difficult situation because he rightfully has a standard and is focused on protecting the safety of the public. And he never, ever, ever wavered from that. And yet he worked overtime. He worked creatively. He worked with everyone involved in the project to make sure that we both met the code, that we assured the safety of people, and at the same time, we opened on time for Hamilton. And I always remember how, even with a little bit of discomfort, you got it done, man, along with others, but you were a key person there, and I'm grateful. The community's grateful. So congratulations to you. I hope that wasn't the thing that led you to your retirement, but
May well have been.
but go ahead, Jeff. You want
Yeah,
to?
so I just to conclude, when you've done a lot for the city, and a lot of people are going to miss you, your presence, and your creativity, and as Tom said, your consummate professionalism. We wish you well in retirement. I'm assuming you're retiring. If you take a job in Rancho, I'm coming for you. So, we will have this resolution for you that we are resolved to wish you well and offer our sincere appreciation for your service to the city of Sacramento. So thank you, Win. Would you like to say something?
Sure. Let's see, Mayor, Council, and City Manager. I had the opportunity to come to the city back in 2013, as Councilmember Harris mentioned. And that was a decision that blossomed into a great career at the city. I've gotten to meet a lot of great city staff and council members and work together on resolving issues that has been brought to my attention. I am proud of the accomplishments I and the building division have made during that time. As Councilmember Harris mentioned, the award for being recognized as Building Department of the Year from the California building officials was very exciting. So I'd like to thank the building division staff for their hard work and for making me look good. My fellow division managers, and of course, Tom Pace, Mike Jasso, and Howard Chan for your support and confidence in me. It's been a great ride. Thank you.
All right, Win, thanks so much. Mayor, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's another great way to start our meeting. And finally, last but not least tonight, let me turn this over to Council Members Valenzuela and Mayor Pro Tem Guerra for a presentation recognizing the legacy of Cesar Chavez. Council members.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I don't know, Councilmember. I got the resolution today, and I'm going to have to hand it off to you for delivery. So maybe we'll do that virtually here today as well. But we wanted to take a moment to honor the legacy of Cesar Chavez, and it is just so appropriate that his birthday was last week in the middle of an unprecedented strike from labor unions in our city at the Sac City Unified School District. And we had Dolores Huerta came up to speak to them on last Monday in the pouring rain. She stood up there and under these umbrellas to talk to these teachers. And she reminded us of the tenacity and the boldness and just how long they fought in UFW for rights and how long they continue to fight for the rights. And I think it just speaks to the inspiration that Cesar was and is to so many of us that are continuing that fight for working people and across our city. So I'm just really honored to participate in this reso process with you, Councilmember Guerra. Thank you for including me this year, and just really, really proud that we're taking a moment as a council to recognize this great man and his legacy that really lives strong among the people in our city, as we've seen in recent days. And weeks. So, Councilmember Guerra.
Clear below. Thanks, Councilmember Valenzuela. I think Mark Stevens' line is off there. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. But first, also want to recognize that this Cesar Chavez Day is not just known for his name, and the purpose of when it became a resolution was from a bill, Senate Bill 984 in 2000. Which, Mr. Mayor, I think you voted for in the assembly at that time. And it was for a day of service and a day of learning. And so it's Cesar Chavez Day of Service and Learning. And I recall when this was moving through the legislature, I grew up as a farm worker. And so on the 31st, I had an opportunity to go and meet with many of the farm workers who came to Sacramento. And I think, again, the importance of this day is that we continue to educate our community and our youth about the constant struggle to making sure that we're fighting for justice and we're making sure that working families have an opportunity, and a day of learning as well, where we educate folks about how not to repeat the mistakes of the past, and I think today honoring and recognizing all the great history, closing out with Women's History Month, clearly, recognizing Dolores Huerta and her contributions in that time frame. And also I want to bring up that in this day of service and learning, a community of farm workers that many times during Cesar Chavez Day are overlooked, and that was the plight and the fight of the Filipino farm workers as well. And so Larry Itleong, Philip Vera Cruz, many who were involved, who helped Cesar and were involved in the first strike. And so, to me, it's a great honor to thank the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement, who takes every year the Saturday right before Cesar Chavez Day. Sometimes it lands on the day, a Saturday to remember and the work that has been done and continues to do to make sure that we're using that as a day of service and a day of learning, and also to recognize our next speaker here, which is Caroline Cabillas, who on this purpose of service and learning has continued the work of the Cesar Chavez Day Youth Conference. Mr. Mayor, we started off the meeting about how we need to continue to invest in our youth and to talk about how we create leaders and making sure that we inspire our future. Well, the Cesar Chavez Day has been a day where we continue that effort. So as a former farm worker, once a former farm worker, you're always a farm worker. You don't know any difference other than to work hard. And it's my pleasure to also, want to thank my fellow council member Valenzuela for the recognition of this resolution for our city, but also to welcome Caroline Cabillas here, who has her history as well with the Latino and Filipino community as well. But most importantly, leading the Cesar Chavez Day Youth Conference to inspire our youth. So, Caroline.
Thank you, council members Valenzuela and Eric Guerra. Mayor Steinberg, council members, I'm Caroline Cabillas, and I'm here speaking for the University of California, Davis Chicanx Latinx Alumni Association. As you'll hear right after me from Dr. Pablo Reguerin from the UC Davis campus also to speak about the conference. It's an opportunity for students to receive critical information regarding higher education, financial aid, and admission requirements. Our schools, which serve underserved communities, don't have the adequate resources to provide this information. Yet this information can result in life-changing opportunities for underserved students, and particularly students of color. Quick story, I met a student at a weekend community event. He attended McClatchy High School in one of our wealthiest neighborhoods in Sacramento with a 4.0 GPA and AP classes. So I asked him, assuming he was applying to UC Davis, and he said no, he was going to Sacramento City College because his family couldn't afford UC Davis. My UC Davis colleague, Tati Aguilera, took him over to the campus and arranged for financial aid information and admissions information. When he received a notice of a $20,000 financial aid package, he asked my colleague to speak to his Spanish-speaking only mother, who said they could never afford to pay this back, but it wasn't a loan. While monetary support is needed for these students to attend the UC Davis conference, another way of support includes attending the conference and meeting these students, your students from your districts, just like Council Member Jennings did at our last conference, where he ended up handing out T-shirts to the students as they came into the pavilion in an amazement of the opportunity to be in this world-class educational institution. You'll see the impact you can have when you talk to these students personally, some of whom have never been on a college campus before. In Sacramento, that's pretty incredulous, don't you think? This is your community. Almost 50% of K through 12, your students, are Latino and other students of color. We need your support to get these students to this critical event on May the 14th. And we ask your attendance also to meet these students there and talk to them about their experiences and understand what your minor financial support and your personal attendance and speaking to them might actually mean for these students. So I thank you for listening to this. And Dr. Reguerin is going to actually talk about the program since he is the sponsoring vice chancellor for the program.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay. Thank you, council members and mayor, for your support and collaboration. I want to also recognize Caroline and our Latino alumni and community leaders that have worked alongside the UC Davis staff. I want to just share some information about the conference. I bring warm greetings from UC Davis and Chancellor Gary May. My name is Pablo Reguerin and I serve as the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. And we are very excited let me get the presentation, sorry. Can you see that okay? So we are very excited to host the 20th annual Cesar Chavez Youth Leadership Conference, which will be hosted at the Davis site in person on May 14th. This is a free and informational and motivational event designed to nurture our rising leaders and families. And it has been designed very much to embody the Si Se Puede and the spirit of Cesar Chavez, which both is about dreaming and seeing beyond the situation that you're in, but also organizing and attending workshops and connecting with others to make sure that there aren't any barriers that stop you along your educational journey. And so there will be presentations on all the public higher education opportunities. There's opportunities also to engage with mentors. We have our registration page, which you can see now is up, and there is an opportunity to register individually. You can also, if you're bringing your community group or a school or class wants to, can go through the group registration. We ask for your help in spreading the word. As Caroline mentioned, particularly we are trying to reach out to students who might be first in their families to attend college, as well as our low-income residents, our communities of color, that we want to make sure benefit from this opportunity. So we have a lot of materials that you can post on social media, that flyers that can be downloaded. Students who attend will also get promotional materials, T-shirts, and a bag. But we do ask for your help in spreading the word and supporting more community members to attend. As I mentioned, we have a range of workshops designed both to inspire students as well as to give them the information and to make the connections so that they can achieve their goals, whether it be at UC Davis or following other higher education paths available to them. We're also happy to happy to share that our keynote speaker will be Jose Hernandez, who is a former astronaut and currently serves as one of the UC regents. Chancellor May and others will be joining. So again, we invite your partnership. We ask for your help in getting the word out and look forward to celebrating Cesar Chavez and our youth and families at this conference. Thank you.
You know, Dr. Regerin, I have a very important question for you because as a UC Davis alumni, I am constantly frustrated at the Stingers Up that Sac State gets to do. And I want to know what we do as UC Davis alumni to combat the Stingers Up. Do we have a symbol yet?
We don't have a
can
symbol. We
do?
always say go Ags. I think that
Okay.
that is our,
All
that is
right,
what
well,
we
go
do.
Ags, and I really hope colleagues you'll join us in celebrating this great event, returning to UC Davis and getting our kids connected because it's a really amazing opportunity and they're going to need our help to make it amazing.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. And if for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity of our colleagues, I've had the opportunity to go just about every year before the pandemic. It is truly inspiring to see how many young people want an opportunity who've never been in a college campus. This is open to anyone in our council districts. Spread the word. It is truly a great event. And as a fellow Hornet that says Stingers Up, I will say go Ags as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Guerra and Councilmember Valenzuela. So many great things going on in our community and honoring so many important people. Thank you. Let us move to tonight's consent calendar. Are there items that members would like to take up separately or to talk about separately? I don't see anybody. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to move the consent calendar, Mayor?
I hear
Second.
Councilman.
Second.
I'm not sure. I know Mayor Pro Tem was trying to get his voice in there, so I'm going to give him by a whisker the second on this, okay? Councilmember Jennings, we'll get you next time, Councilmember Laloe. Moved by Jennings, seconded by Guerra. Do we have public testimony?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have two hands raised. The first is a phone number, 4366. Mr. Davis?
Yes, this is Lambert. I wanted to comment on, I guess it's number 6. I wished I could have commented on Mr. Cesar Chavez because he was a wonderful human being when I was growing up as a teenager in Del Paso Heights. As a matter of fact, the building that Mr. Laloe owns or has his business in, that used to be called Safeway when we were teenagers. And Mr. The great Cesar Chavez, he inspired us to boycott that building because of the great boycott. So shout out to him and Mrs. Huerta. She's a wonderful human being too. I've met her. And so they should be commended. That's a wonderful thing that Mr. Guerra and Katie Valenzuela did. Number 6 concerns me because last week the Asian Chamber received up to $2.8 million of ARPA funding, and then this week it's almost $700,000, and that's a concern of mine because I used to be a member, which is shocking to some people, a member of the Asian Chamber of Commerce, and now I'm a member of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, and I noticed the difference in funding. And so I think that should be explained to the public, especially me, because, you know, to me, the millennials have inspired me and instructed me about the consent calendar. That's where the money is being moved without any debate. And so I think the California Black Chamber should get some of that money that I'm hearing about. CORE should get some, and to the Bay and Back cheesecakes. We should all be on the consent calendar because otherwise it looks like a quota system to me. And I'm the boldest one in Sacramento
Thank you for your
to say
comments.
that.
Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
That's what I have to say.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker is a phone number, 4470. Phone number, last 4 digits, 4470.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. I am
one of those millennials interested in our consent calendar. I'm just curious about item 12. It looks like it's an appropriation for a video wall, and I'm curious in general what the city's policy on facial recognition in this real-time crime center is, and if that's something that's publicly available, and also if there's a contract with any consultants as a part of this, if that's a publicly available information. Would appreciate either a quick response from staff under the Brown Act or a follow-up response from one of the council members. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
All right, members, Madam Clerk, let us call the roll on the consent calendar, please.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Jennings and a second by Guerra. Vice Mayor Ashby?
Yes.
Councilmember Laloy?
Aye.
Councilmember Harris?
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela?
Yes.
Councilmember Chenier?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra?
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Councilmember Vang?
Yes.
And Mayor Steinberg?
Yes. Okay, that passes. We do have items 15 through 17, which are all alley-related and public road-related issues. Can we take them all together and vote on them separately? Is that okay?
We do have staff member Jimmy Byram.
Mr. Byram, are you on all three of these items?
I have item 15 and 16.
Why don't we take?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, then go ahead. Why don't you take 15, 16?
All right. Well,
Go ahead.
good evening, Mayor, Madam City Clerk, members of the City Council. So my name is Jimmy Byram, City Surveyor, Engineering Services at the Department of Public Works. So before you this evening, I have an item which proposes adopting a resolution to vacate the vehicular and pedestrian public right-of-way over Neighbors Alley between 8th and 9th Street in downtown Sacramento. The public service easements will be retained for the utilities. And so this request by the state of California Department of General Services is being made to facilitate a comprehensive renovation of the existing resources building adjacent to said alley. The public works staff with other utility agencies support this vacation request. And furthermore, this project is consistent with the 2035 general plan and in compliance with the California Streets and Highways Code. So that concludes my presentation on item 15.
Okay, please present item 16 as well.
Item 16. Before you, I have an item here that proposes adopting resolution to vacate the vehicular and pedestrian public right-of-way over various streets and alleys north of the downtown between Southern Pacific Railroad, which was formerly B Street, North B Street, 16th and 18th Street. That's the area of Blue Diamond area. In 2003, a resolution with conditions was previously adopted by the City Council to vacate said streets and alleys. However, it was never recorded due to outstanding conditions of approval. Conditions have been resolved and public service easements will be reserved. This vacation request by Blue Diamond Growers is being made to facilitate the current industrial operations and provide secure parking. Public Works staff, along with other utility agencies, support this vacation request. And furthermore, this project is consistent with the Sacramento 2035 general plan and is in compliance with the California Streets and Highways Code. And that concludes my presentation on item 16.
Okay, do we have members? Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have public comment on this?
I have no hands raised to make public comment on either item 15 or 16.
Thank you, Mindy. Mayor, I had a comment on number 16, and I'm happy to open and close the public hearing for 16 and make this comment. This has been ongoing for several years. These vacations are going to be very helpful to Blue Diamond. I'm completely in support and would like to move 16, if you don't mind taking the vote out of order.
That's fine. All right, it's been moved. Can we get a second on that?
Mayor, I'm happy to second. I'd also happy to move, open and close the public hearing and move item 15 as well, so we can just
Can we,
dispatch of both.
can we do both at one time, Madam Clerk?
Probably a separate vote, Mayor.
Yes, a separate vote would be more appropriate.
Okay,
Okay,
so
then,
let's,
I'm happy to do it in order, if that's okay with you, Mayor. Maybe we just start with 15, open and close the public hearing and move the item.
okay, is that okay?
I'll second 15.
Okay, 15's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashby,
Yes.
Councilmember Laloe,
Aye.
Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Yes.
Councilmember Chenier,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Vang,
Yes.
and Mayor Steinberg.
Yes, all right, that passes. Councilmember Harris now moves item 16. That would be, is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
By Councilmember Valenzuela, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Ashby,
Yes.
Councilmember Laloe,
Aye.
Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Yes.
Councilmember Chenier,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Aye.
Councilmember Vang,
Yes.
and Mayor Steinberg.
Yes. Okay, now we go to item 17. Who's presenting on that?
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor, Madam Clerk, and members of the City Council. My name is Jennifer Johnson with the Department of Public Works. The item before you this afternoon is for the temporary closure to vehicular traffic only of Government Alley between 15th and 16th Streets. The California Vehicle Code gives the City Council authority to approve the closure of a public roadway for 18 months where illegal dumping or serious and continual criminal activity is prevalent. If approved by City Council, the applicant will install 2 sets of bollards on each end of the alley. The bollards will allow pedestrians and cyclists to enter the alley freely while prohibiting vehicles from driving through the alley. The police department, fire department, and traffic engineering all support the closure. And with the supporting document, staff recommends approval of the alley closure. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Mayor,
That's a great backdrop, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. Mayor, I'm happy to open and close the public hearing and move this item.
Moved in. Is there a second?
There is a second, Mayor.
Second, thank you, sir. Is there public testimony?
There are no hands raised to make public testimony on this item.
All right, then let's call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Ashby,
Yes.
Councilmember Laloe,
Aye.
Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Yes.
Councilmember Chenier,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Vang,
Yes.
and Mayor Steinberg.
Yes. All right, that passes. Members, again, with item 18 being continued to April the 12th, that concludes the formal agenda for this evening. Are there is there public testimony on items not on the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I do have one hand raised. It's a phone number, last 44366. Mr. Davis?
Yes, this is Lambert Davis of To the Bay and Back Cheesecakes. I want to, as a native of Sacramento, and I mean a native, someone who was born and raised here, I would like to send some shouts out tonight to some people that I consider people that deserve it, because I believe in giving credit where credit is due. First, I want to say to City Councilman Laloe, I did some homework at Grant High School, and I found out from the drumline director that you are helping them. I want them to get some help. They're teenagers. They're nationally recognized, and they're not just recognized this year. They've been there for decades. They were there when I was at school there and before I got there. It's a tremendous legacy. I was thrilled to hear that when I went there, because I do my homework and I do my own legwork, because hidden agendas is not what I'm about. I also would like to send a shout out to Mayor Steinberg, because I was on the road this weekend and some people who know me from all over the country, family and friends, they really mentioned you. They said you look like a mayor with true leadership during a tragedy. And that's no knock to the rest of the people I saw in the picture. They know who they were in that photo, but they were talking about the mayor, and that's true leadership. And that's why you're well respected in Del Paso Heights. You were there when we needed our pool open for the young folks. You were there. You were at the 2021 holidays celebration. We saw you come there, not some assistant. And so I want to say to you.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Please give him an additional 10 minutes.
But well, no, I don't need 10 minutes.
I'm kidding.
I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for what I just said. Thank you.
Thank you, Lambert, very much. Thank you, sir. I'm just teasing. Thank you. It's very kind. Okay. Do we have another caller?
We don't have any other callers.
Okay. All right, council ideas and questions. We're going to conclude with Councilmember Valenzuela's adjourn in memory and moment of silence, as referred to earlier. So we'll take her last. I'm going to start with Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Chenier, and then Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of you may have noticed in the Bee a week or two ago that a question was raised by a fellow named Paul Mitchell about redistricting process and redistricting lines. And it raised the question, the specter of which was who represents which districts until the end of their term. The city attorney came out with a public opinion today, just a couple of hours ago, to look at questions about recall. That's been a question that's been raised by some constituents. I raised the question to the city attorney, do I in fact represent my old District 3 until the end of my term? Because that was the assumption of myself and, excuse me, most of my constituents. It turns out that embedded in this opinion from our city attorney's office, that is indeed correct. And that would apply to all of us, to Jay, to Rick, to all of us. We all represent our previous districts until the end of our elected term. That is how the California Election Code reads. And in fact, that is a proper interpretation as stated by Susanna Alcala Wood to me on the phone not long ago. I have to say this is a little bit earth-shaking. A very significant difference from what we were told when redistricting happened, that the district boundaries took effect immediately. It turns out they do take effect immediately, but only as pertains to the next election, so that those people who are going to run for those revised districts could start to line up their campaigns and so forth. But in fact, I must tell you, I'm very pleased that I will be representing the area where I live and the old District 3 until the end of my term, which is the end of our session this year. This is a pretty big piece of news. And, we've all adjusted, right, to the new boundary lines. We've had other council members taking over parts of the districts that we've represented for years. But in fact, that was not the proper decision. I would like the city attorney, Ms. Alcala Wood, if she's on the line, to clarify this, because to me, it's very important. It has been very disappointing for me to have another council member come in and sort of take over projects that I've worked on for so long. And in fact, we have different opinions about how things should work. So, Madam City Attorney, can you get on the line and clarify this for us?
I just want to say, this is a very important question because the city has told the entire community, including our council, that they are now representing new districts, or at least partially new districts as a result of redistricting. And if Councilmember Harris's assertion is correct, we have a real problem here. And if it isn't correct, then maybe a charter change is in order, because I don't agree with the idea that districts should be changed in the middle of a calendar year before the next election. But what is the answer to this very important question, please?
You're on mute, Susanna.
What about now?
Gotcha.
We
Okay.
hear you. Okay.
In responding to the question posed to us initially by the city clerk, which was specifically if we could advise her, provide her an opinion on whether or not, or what boundaries were included in any recall involving the Council District 4 representative, we initially opined on the matter, and then I got a secondary opinion just to confirm our opinion of how the charter read. This is an unprecedented question. It's a case of first impression for the city. We have not actually ever had this issue presented to us. And so I wanted to make sure that we took time to respond to it. We had a number of inquiries. I'm sure all of your office did. I know the city clerk's office had a number of inquiries from the public. And so I prepared the public opinion so that we could actually post it. My previous opinion was just to the city clerk, and so it was confidential. And so we posted that. What I explained to Councilmember Harris today as he inquired as to whether or not he continues to represent District 3 until the end of his term is that in answering this question about the boundaries for the recall, we were able to definitively address this question and say, yes, he remains the council member of District 3 until the end of his term, just like all the other council members. You're tied to your old terms in which you were elected. That doesn't mean the new council district maps aren't effective upon adoption. They are. And the city clerk is using them to prepare for the upcoming elections. And she is, that's the whole purpose of drawing council district maps. And so that they have a boundary by which the voters can then elect a representative from. And so they are effective and they are being used. But you were all, those of you who are affected by them, or those of your current council members, you're tied to the districts in which you were voted in until the end of your term. And so that is what I explained to the council member. It's our charter covers a lot of these things. Oftentimes it comes to us to interpret charter provisions when questions such as this come up. And if our charter doesn't specifically cover them, then we follow the elections code.
Madam City Attorney, can I ask you?
Sorry, can I clarify this really quick? Sorry, because this is all news to all of us.
It is.
And I just want to say that, Mayor, if I can, I just want to say that, because yeah, we were told on December 16th, quite like, okay, this is your new district. And so you're saying, okay, we represent our old districts and so we'll have to work that out, I guess, from constituent affairs, because I know I started getting forwarded emails right away from a district that I didn't know. And so I guess the next secondary question then is like, what does that mean for parts of the city that won't have a representative elected then this year? So thinking specifically, if I could use my district, for example, like River District, ESAC, essentially then after this election just wouldn't have a representative until 2024. Is that your interpretation?
No, they have a representative currently because there are parts of the old district that are covered by Councilmember Harris, to use your specific example. And he remains that council member. It's the new district lines that have been drawn have resulted, of course, in because his residence is not located in the new district, he can't run again. And so once the November elections have concluded, then we will have representatives that have been elected from that district as it is newly drawn. And so there will be, in essence, almost an overlap of the district.
But for the areas that don't have an overlap, so I'm naming specific neighborhoods that were in Councilmember Harris's office that are now not going to have anybody after this election in 2022 because the new District 3 doesn't include them. Do they call us? Who do they call when they have constituent issues?
well, for specifically for District 3, they'll continue to call the council member which was elected from District 3, which is Council Member Harris. There is a period of transition right now for those that are not changing, the council members' offices, I understood. There's a lot of these issues that are raised I would not be aware of in my role as a city attorney, as far as how the council members have reacted in response to this. But there would be a period of transition for some council members for areas, but and the council member Harris specific, because he asked me the question, he remains a council member of bound to those old, his old district, just.
So,
Council, and that's not my question, Susanna. I think my question is.
There will be, let me try. There will be a new member. There will be a new member elected to succeed Councilmember Harris in District 3. And whoever wins that election will represent all of District 3 as reconstituted.
Correct.
So there won't be a gap. Right now, Councilmember Harris represents his old district.
Correct.
You represent existing District 4. Come December, Councilmember Harris, who is not running for re-election, will be succeeded in a new District 3 by whoever wins that election. And Councilmember Valenzuela, you will represent the new District 4.
Hold on, because that's not what I heard. That's why I'm asking the question, Mayor, because that's not what I just heard Susanna say. So my understanding is that once Councilmember Harris is replaced by someone in the new District 3, Susanna, I'm specifically talking about the parts of the old District 3 that are not covered by the new District 3, right? So I'm like thinking River District and East Sac, River Park, or those neighborhoods, right? So once that election happens, who do they call for constituent work if I'm still representing the old District 4?
I will tell you, you will represent the new District 4 and parts of the old District 4. That's what will happen. Because of course.
Can Susanna answer that question, Mayor? Because I don't think that's what she was just saying.
So the district lines have been redrawn. Any new council members coming in for those districts that have been redrawn or existing council members, that will be their new district. And so, however, for the sake of the council members that are leaving office, they continue to represent the districts to which they were elected. And so that's why in Councilmember Harris specific and Councilmember Chenier and anybody else affected by it, they represent the district to which they were voted into, and they continue to do so.
I'm sorry, get the answer to the question, because then I want to back up a little bit here, because there's something fundamentally concerned about all of this, okay?
And I know I have a couple of other council members' hands.
I understand, but I'm going to ask a question now, please. I want to back up because I want the so-called recall question has sort of clouded all of this. But set that aside. Did the city communicate to the public and the council members after the Independent Redistricting Commission drew the lines that the council members' districts changed immediately? Did we communicate that? And did we communicate that in error back in December?
That was communicated. Was it communicated in error? That I don't. I'd have to see the communications, Mayor.
Well, it's on the city's website, and yeah. Jeff Harris and Rick Jennings now has been working for several months here, thinking that he's representing Land Park and Curtis Park, and Jay Chenier has not been, so no, people have been, it has been reported public, it has been reported on the city's website, and we communicated this, and it was in error. And this is a fundamental question. And I'm concerned about this. And now we're hearing in April that in fact, that isn't true. So I do think we need to go back and look at how this occurred because the public has been confused. And the members have been confused for now going on December, January, February, March for 4+ months. I'm sorry.
Well, Mayor, I wouldn't say confused. I mean, we were operating under the direction we got from the city.
I understand,
which
but it was
this
in,
is
it
your
was,
new district.
but it was
So
in.
if that's not true, then we have a lot of work to do in the community to help them understand.
It
what
was
this
incorrect.
means.
It was incorrect.
Yeah.
The information was incorrect. And now we're hearing tonight, and because of the recall question raised the broader issue, but that's why I want to set aside that question. And the city concluded something back in December about who represents where that wasn't accurate. Is that, if I'm wrong, please, I'm not trying to, make anybody's life hard here, but this is a problem, obviously. And we need,
I understand the questions that you're all asking. It's just not accurate to say the maps were not effective. They are effective. They were
I
effective
understand they're
upon
effective,
adoption.
but
It's their effect, I think, is what you're asking, and we're trying to clarify their effect. And the recall, the question that the clerk asked us to answer with regards to its effect on the recall petition, brought to light all these other issues that had not previously been answered because they simply just didn't come up. And but it's inaccurate to say that information was in error. It's the multiple effects of it is what you're now asking for me. And there's any number of things we can do to help clarify that for the public. Issuing the public opinion was one, because if you read that public opinion within it, it talks about why everybody's tied to their district. And so I'm happy to issue
Mayor,
my.
you have 3 councilors.
yeah, so go ahead on
Yeah,
this issue.
right.
On this issue,
Yeah, of course.
go ahead. Go ahead, Angelique, please.
Right. My cheeks are going to start bleeding from biting them. This is insane. This is not even my first round of redistricting. And I'm now learning that in 2011, I actually represented downtown for an additional year that I didn't know about. So here's the thing. We need to agendize this. This cannot be like an off comment. There are a lot of implications to saying that the maps go into effect. So perhaps what I would recommend to the city attorney and the city clerk is that you work through those questions. For example, there are parks, PIF, and Quimby dollars. Which districts are they attached to? Or when you say the maps transition, what exactly portions transition? Because not only has Council Member Valenzuela pointed out to you that there would be certain communities left unrepresented under this logic, but there are also districts that would be duly represented. Let me give you an example. Right now, Councilmember Loloe and I both are working together on Robla. Technically, under what we're hearing, he is still their council member, not me. And he is until he is reelected. So it doesn't, when my seat goes to somebody else in the end of December, they will have been voted for by the Robla folks, but Councilmember Loloe is still tied to Robla, because if you were to recall him, Robla would have a vote until he is selected by his new district, which would technically mean both the new District 1 person and the previous District 2 person simultaneously represent that community until Mr. Loloe is elected by a different electorate. That also means that communities like Roca or ESAC could, for a period of time, be left without anyone. So I'm not suggesting that any of those are the answer, but what I am saying is what I am hearing is quite confusing. And I don't think it's appropriate for an offhanded conversation at the end of a council meeting. We really need to agendize it. And we as council need to understand very clearly what our roles are. And it needs to be researched carefully, and not just by our city attorney. She can't be expected to know this off the top of her head or after a couple weeks of research. She needs to have an opportunity to hire people that are experts in this area, bring them on, talk to them, and do a significant amount of research with the clerk and bring it back to us so that we can very clearly understand who is representing which community. And if there is overlap, which I suspect there will be because there's no version of this where that doesn't happen, how that is determined, because you may have colleagues who don't agree. And I'm intentionally using Councilmember Laloe and myself because it's unlikely we would disagree. But let's say we did all of a sudden. Then who's the council member? Right? And so, and what role does the mayor, who is the only citywide elected, play in resolving some of those issues? And Susanna, my question to you is, because this has clearly not been cleaned up by any city attorney before you and just happens to fall in your lap this time because there happens to be a recall happening at a timing that has pointed out to us an error in our ways for many years. My ask of you is, please also make recommendations to us if we need to do a charter cleanup to fix a portion of this, because this has clearly been wrong for some time. So that's my ask here, Mayor, is a clear agenda item with some clear guidance
it's a good
and some
idea.
recommendations and an opportunity for our staff to get some assistance in what has obviously been long wrong in the city of Sacramento.
So let's do that. Let's agendize this for next week, because this is a really.
I don't know if she can get that done in 1 week, Mayor. She needs to have some time. I don't know.
Well, whatever time it takes. I'm concerned. I don't know how this happens. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. All I know is that in our city, in my city, there is significant confusion about which member represents which area now. And so this has to be clarified and resolved very, very soon, so that the members and the public know which area they represent.
Mayor, let me just say that I agree. Time is of the essence. This needs to be resolved.
Yeah. Councilmember Chenier?
I have a separate issue, so I don't know if there's more on this.
Okay. Madam City Attorney, tell us what you recommend here about what is the best way we can go about clarifying this in a timely fashion. What's your recommendation?
Well, I appreciate time is of the essence. I would agree with that. And I thank you, Councilmember Ash, because you've hit the nail exactly on the head. There is several things wrong with our charter as we have learned through this whole new redistricting process that would probably, that's the fix. A lot of things put in there that nobody anticipated what the effect was going to be. And we're kind of running with it and interpreting it as we go. I probably need more than a week, though. I probably need at least 2. I'd love 3. We did already engage outside counsel to help us on this, so that will help me go faster. I can come. How about if I say I come back to you? I'm going to aim for 2, but please know it could be 3. Council meeting dates.
I think that's fair. Okay.
I'm sorry, but like, and I'm sorry, Mayor, to keep belaboring this, but what do we do in the meantime? Like, if I get a call from somebody in like a different, do I just?
You're asking me to revisit the opinion I've given. So my opinion currently is that the council member who was elected to that district remains a council member.
Right.
That's my opinion right now.
Okay.
I actually think that works because we haven't made any changes to the council yet. So since we haven't had an election, it's fairly easy for each of us to hold on to the districts that we had 2 months ago for 3 more weeks for her to figure it out.
Well, if I can say, obviously, we've already, I'm a little stunned. Not often. We've invested money and made commitments to our new districts. I lost 5 major neighborhoods in redistricting, I think more than anyone here.
Thank you, Jay, for bringing them over to District 6.
No problem. Well,
Thank
6
you, Jay.
and
Jay,
6
you're
and
doing great taking in some of D8. You've been rocking it. So.
No, it's all good, but do we not make commitments on anything? We're planning summer right now.
Yep.
We're planning events in other districts. We're spending council funds doing these things. And, for me, Curtis Park, Southland Park, Zeeburg Park, Colonial Heights, and Lawrence Park have all moved to other people. So by Susanna's opinion, they're now back with me, at least for the next 8 months.
For the next 3 weeks. while she figures out what
3
happened.
weeks or 8 months. So
You
yeah.
can hold on for that long.
But I just want to suggest it. I mean, I will send you questions that I have, and I'm hoping that all of my colleagues will do the same, so we can get as comprehensive as possible on this.
We should have had an implementation plan. That's what we should have had.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So I have a separate issue, if I can, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry. So this council, as you all will remember, passed a resolution that was a public safety resolution that redefined public safety and added prevention services for young people. We have, and I think we've done very well about putting additional dollars into youth, and many of us have talked about it, particularly as a result of this weekend. And even though these were all adults, you know, prevention starts very, very early in elementary school, and we're doing Band-Aids when we do intervention. We should continue doing that, but doing prevention and changing the arc, as the mayor has talked about, is really important. What we have done, both through CARES and ARPA, is significant additional money, but it's all one time. And so thinking structurally and thinking, how do we change the system, again, to match the arc that the mayor has been talking about, requires a lot of things. And we've been bringing people together to talk about implementation of the public safety resolution. What does that look like? One of the things, and I've mentioned this before, is to look at making sure that we invest a similar percentage in young people as we do in traditional, let's call it that, public safety. I am planning to agendize this for the Law and Legislation Committee. We have a draft resolution that we will put forward, but we're going to agendize this for April 19th at the Law and Legislation Committee. So we will send this to people so they have this and we can take suggestions. I just want to let people know at this point.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Chenier. April 19th. Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One separate item, but just I want to make sure that whenever the city attorney and the city clerk or whoever comes back, that the explanation not required to be a government law attorney or a redistricting attorney. I think, you know, something very clear and easy that our constituents can understand as well, I think is going to be critical. So if it takes 3 weeks, I'd rather it be 3 weeks and be very clear and not this, shoots and ladder explanation about what the lines are, what they mean. Mr. Mayor, this weekend at the Charles A. Jones Center, we are having a skilled trades job fair from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is for high school seniors and adults. And so really proud of the work that our adult school program at the Charles A. Jones on Stockton Boulevard and Lemon Hill is doing to, encourage folks in our community to enter high wage jobs in both the construction trades and also into manufacturing. So I want to encourage my colleagues to share the information that both it's with the partnership with the Sacramento Valley Manufacturing Association and the Charles A. Jones Adult School is putting together. And that's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this Saturday on Stockton Boulevard in Lemon Hill. And with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Laloe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Kind of continuing what Councilmember Chenier alluded to, which I completely agree. When are we going to see from our city staff the dollar amounts that have been spent on youth from CARES Act and the ARPA money to date, to see what organization have received what and what they have produced with that? I think getting that information per district, it would make some decision makings a little bit easier. Kind of driving in the dark and just applying money to a sector, in this case, very important sector, which is youth, but not having any knowledge of how the money is being spent, it's creating it very difficult to continuously just to vote yes on dedicating money. And it would be much easier to make decisions on increasing funding for public safety if it has to do with youth, if the data is there for us to just see who got what and what they did with it. So I don't know if, Mr. City Manager, is that a data that a particular staff member needs to provide to the council? I know last time, about 8 months ago, I asked for a breakdown of the CARES Act dollars that was spent on youth. And I was told by one of the assistant city managers on council that that data is not still available, that they're working on it. So is that data available now from the CARES Act, which is almost a year ago?
I can absolutely follow up with you, but yeah, understand that with the CARES Act funding and ARP dollars, there are reporting requirements, and that, you know, the dollars that we award to the various organizations, they are required to report to us. And to the extent we have some of that information. I don't know the cutoff lines and when they have to report, you know, what they spent the money on and how many people they serve, all the things you're asking about. But I will follow up and provide this council with an update on when we can get that information, even if it's partial information, because that's, in all likelihood, that's what it will be.
Okay, and I would greatly appreciate it. And if in fact we're helping organizations, which we should, and we give them a deadline to provide the reports, I think the council also needs to be notified of any organization that misses that deadline. Because ultimately, you know, every organization is responsible to produce what they have promised for our youth. So if there is a deadline and they missed it, I think the council needs to be notified that those deadlines by this particular organization has been missed. So when the next time comes around, we have to think twice before, you know, moving forward with that organization, or they need to fix up some stuff internally. But having the checks and balance, especially on youth, that would be wonderful. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I think there's some controls just inherently in place, because many of these contracts we have are on a reimbursement basis. If they don't provide the data, we don't provide the reimbursement. So there are a whole bunch of different contracts in place, and how we structure them, I can't tell you as we speak here, but I will get that information back to the council.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, Mayor, on a separate subject, you asked at the outset of the meeting for potential comments about the situation that happened this weekend. I do have one comment. As more information comes to light about the people who were involved in the shooting, perhaps the shooters, I'm not sure, it's all been determined yet. Certainly the two of the three that have been incarcerated so far are career felons, violent felons. One who was let out early on parole after committing very heinous crimes. I think it's important that we acknowledge there are many components to a shooting like this. Some of it's investment in youth, some of it's incarceration, some of it's enforcement. But our society has become so lenient in terms of letting felons out of jail, people who have committed really severe violent crimes. This may well be a situation where that was affected. Our district attorney wrote a letter to the parole board asking that one of these assailants not be let out of prison. And yet it happened. And there is nothing that the city could do to have prevented a felon like that, released early on parole, from committing an act, because this was not his first reoffense. So we have to keep that in mind as we look at this incident, that we're talking about criminals here. And when people choose a life of crime, they are criminals. And the only way to deal with that is to incarcerate them, quite frankly. And I think that we as a society really missed the mark when people who are not rehabilitated join the ranks of our society and are able to illegally retrieve firearms and commit such a heinous act. So that's my comment, that we have to keep the overall picture in mind when we look at the city's response to an incident like this.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to end tonight with Councilmember Valenzuela to adjourn in memory of those who lost their lives. And also, if you could include, please, Councilmember, a moment of silence, I'd sure appreciate it.
Okay, I am feeling a lot of feelings right now. So I'd like to invite everybody watching this to just take a deep breath. Whew. We are going to find out a lot in the coming days and weeks, and we will have a lot of time talking about causes and prevention, but I do not want us to lose sight of the people who were impacted by this. This is what our moment right now and for the coming days while the police do their job should be entirely focused on the victims of this crime and the people who have been impacted, that they knew, that witnessed it, who have been left behind. You know, our community has forever been changed by the tragic and senseless death of 6 people and the senseless injury of 12 others. Countless witnesses, loved ones, and community members are coping with real grief, fear, and anger right now. And I want them to first know that that's okay. To resist the urge to pull us into politics and to just be okay with the fact that this really, really sucks. And this is not okay. And it's a terrible, terrible thing. So tonight, I would like to lift up the names of the 6 that we lost. John Taya Alexander, Sergio Harris, Joshua Hoy Lucchesi, Yamil Martinez Andrade, Devazia Turner, and Melinda Davis. Every single one of these people mattered. I don't care what they did during their lives, they mattered. They all had loved ones. They all had hopes and dreams for their future. And our city is going to forever be changed because these individuals are no longer with us. So we adjourn in their memory and in our commitment to continue to support the loved ones left behind as they work to move forward from this terrible loss. So I'd like to just take this moment of silence, please, and reflection briefly before we adjourn. Thank you, colleagues and Mayor, and we adjourn in their memory and we commit to not forgetting them and those that are here. Thank you.
Councilmember Valenzuela, thank you very, very much. In the memory of those lost this week, to never be forgotten, we are adjourned.